Hello, once again. I hope all of you are well. Today we have a reading from Giants of the Spirit on the great Torah sage, the Rama. The Rama, that's Rabbi Moshe Isserless of Zecher Tzadik L'Bracha, of blessed memory. Let's take a look at what about now. Rabbi Moshe Isserless, 1520 to 1572. This is the Rama. Rabbi Moshe Isserless, the Rama. Rabbi Moshe Isserless, known by the initials of his name as the Rama, RMA, was one of the great luminaries brought forth by Poland's Jewry. He attained historic fame and recognition as the final arbiter in halachic problems. His books have become standard works of Jewish law, and his opinions and decisions have exerted lasting influence on halachic theory and practice. Moshe Isserless was born in or about the year 5280, 1520 CE, in Krakow, the city of Poland's kings. As a boy, he was already known as an Eloi, as a young scholar of unusual promise. Still a young man, he was elected to the rabbinate of Krakow. Here he founded a great yeshiva which soon attracted students from all over Poland. These he not only taught but also cared for their material well-being, for he was blessed with earthly as well as spiritual riches. These he not only taught but also cared for their material well-being for these boys. For he was blessed with earthly as well as with spiritual riches. The Rama was looked up to by his contemporaries as the leading personality of his time. Following the expulsion of the Jews from Spain and the disintegration of the flourishing Jewish centers in Spain and Portugal, many Jews from these countries sought refuge in Holland, Italy, Germany, and a number of them settled in Poland. This influx helped to make Poland a great center of Torah learning and Jewish culture. The Rama himself writes in his responsa chapter XL III, quote, and if God had not left this land as a haven of refuge, Israel would have become a byword and a curse as a woman outcast for her perfidy. But with the Almighty's help, the heart of the king and his princes are well inclined toward us. And elsewhere in his responsive, chapter XCV, I'm not sure about the Roman numerals, what the numerical value is. So chapter XCV, he writes, quote, and perhaps little dry bread in peace and safety with it. In these lands, Poland is preferable where hatred does not engulf us as in Germany. Oh, this is the quote. He writes, and perhaps a little dry bread in peace and safety with it. In these lands, Poland is preferable where hatred does not engulf us as in Germany. Like Rabbi Joseph Cairo before him, he too undertook the work of halachic codification. He wrote a commentary paralleling Rabbi Cairo's Beit Yosef on the Turim. These are halachic works, great halachic works. The Beit Yosef, they call it the Beis Yosef, the house of Yosef, from Rabbi Yosef Cairo. In this work, which bears the title Darchei Moshe, the ways of Moshe, he adds these ordinances and those ordinances and religious regulations which were omitted in the Beit Yosef. In his Shulchan Aruch, the set table, Rabbi Yosef Cairo had fixed the halacha in accordance with the opinions of the Rif, Rabbi Yitzchak Alfasi, the Rambam, and the Rosh, and in opposition to the dissenting opinions of the sages of France and Germany. In other words, they had various disagreements, so Rabbi Yosef Cairo, said it according to those rabbis. So there were different opinions, so he said it according to those rabbis, in opposition to the dissenting opinions of the sages of France and Germany. The Rama compiled his annotations to this work and published it under the modest table Mapah, tablecloth, a name chosen by him to indicate that his annotations were meant only to complement Rabbi Joseph Cairo's work, just as the tablecloth is only an accessory for the adornment of the table. In his annotations, Rabbi Moshe Isserless records the teachings and legal opinions of the great rabbis of Germany and Poland, and includes also the minhagim, the tradition-hallowed religious customs and usages of the Ashkenazic Jews, which had found no place in Rabbi Cairo's work. In other words, the Rama annotated the Beit Yosef, the Shulchan Aruch, with the minhagim of the German and the Polish Jewry, and the customs also. So this way, it would he got that point of view into the margins of the Shulchan Aruch, and therefore Jews of Polish and German heritage from those lands, they would be able to see what the tradition is that they should follow. That was the Rama's work. The sages and Talmudists of Poland regarded the work of Rabbi Moshe Isserless as the authoritative halachic summary, which adds to the religious and legal decisions of Rabbi Joseph Cairo, those of the great authorities of France, Germany, and Poland. The Maharil, Rabbi Israel Isserless, Hari, Rabbi Yaakov Polak, Rabbi Moshe Mintz, Rabbi Israel Bruna, and others. They saw in Rabbi Moshe Isserless the supreme authority of modern times, and his books achieved wide popularity in all parts of the diaspora. Rabbi Moshe Isserless was often called the Polish Rambam, the Polish Maimonides, for he resembled the great philosopher in several respects: in his scientific bent of mind, his wide knowledge in many fields of learning, and in the method which he develops in his philosophic work, Torah Ta'olah. In this book, he deals within the framework of halacha with such topics as the architectural design of the sanctuary, the altar, the sacrificial laws, and delves into these matters with scholarly research. Man, he terms the select being of creation. Man, he terms the select being of creation, who is called a small world in himself. Religious thought is to him the foundation of the halacha, of the rules governing man's daily conduct, which are to remind man of the omnipresence and omniscience of God. Omniscience of God. The Rama passed away on Lag BaOmer of the year 5332, 1572 CE. But he lived on among the people as an illustrious, almost legendary personality. His life and his work have been embellished in many folk tales and stories. So this is Rabbi Moshe Isserless, the Rama. Rabbi Moshe Isserless, the Rama. The Polish Rambam. The Polish Rambam. The Polish Maimonides. This is from the book Giants of the Spirit. Giants of the Spirit. Giants of the Spirit. Ephraim Taubenhouse. Giants of the Spirit, 20 biographies of outstanding sages and rabbis. Translated from Hebrew by Benjamin Hoffman. (1962). These are the various other rabbis and sages. Thank you very much. All the best to you, and good luck, hatzlacha, with your studies and learning. Thank you very much.